Welcome to Music and Medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Moshe Lewis. You all are in for a treat today. I have Tweet is PRS from Next. And oh my gosh, I can't even get through the list. I'm excited today to be joined by Rich Rick.
She's an auntie and started off music with Ralph Tresvant from New Edition.
I'm here with a living legend, Phil Demo.
We'll start with this guy because Randy Rhoads was my dude, and we were on tour with Metallica.
Some of the greatest musicians that we know. We've got Brandy, we've got Ray J. I mean, over 40 million albums sold. Sarai Smith, thank you both for joining us.
Welcome to Music and Medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Moshe Lewis. I am so excited to be joined today by Mibie. She is from Texas and taking Los Angeles over by storm, I should say. She's been there now over 10 years and enjoys making music. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Sure. I wanted to kind of start at the beginning, like how you came up with your name and also how you came up with your sound. And then we'll talk some about Texas too.
Yeah, sure. So my name, it's funny because before I've always gone by my original name, which is Mercedes Hughes. I always had this idea that, big singers, they always go by their name. I'm sticking to it.
Right.
But my name, Mivviih, was always my social media name, like always, like since when I first started my account. And one day my dad was like, "What's your name? Like, what does that even say?" I was like, "It's Mivviih." And so I kind of broke it down. He was like, "What does that mean?" And I was like, well, it stands for my original name. You have the M, you have the H, which is Mercedes Hughes, and then I have my birthday. But also Mivie is also an acronym to my own personal mantra. It means my victory. So it's like Mivie, which means my victory. So that's my name.
Yeah.
And they was like, I like
I didn't
it.
even
So
know
I've been
that.
going with it ever since.
Oh, no, that's awesome. I love it. Yeah, I had met you and I didn't even know that last little part. That's amazing. And then just talk to us about sort of growing up in Texas and really starting to get into music, because LA is such a different scene. And I love the authentic vibe that you still keep your, Texas roots and stuff like that with no shame.
Yes, so I'm all around country girl. I grew up riding horses. My papa used to take us on trail rides, and I actually started singing in the church. And I was about 5 to 6 years old and always really shy. And the moment my mom knew that I could sing and that I wanted to sing, she was like, "Sing." She would put me in front of the church, and I was always super shy.
Wow.
And so that's when I really developed my love of music and just performing in general. And just, I think what captivated me as far as music was people's reactions. They were like, "Oh my God," like that's the best part, when people would come up to me like, "Oh, you touched me," or "I can relate to that." And that's something that really inspired me from a little girl, as far as music.
And speaking of inspirations, tell us about some of your inspirations, some of the women that you look up to and whose sound you love.
Yes. So because I'm from the South, I'm really big on big voices. So I love me some Whitney Houston. I love Shaka Khan.
Okay.
However, when I grew up, I only remember having like 3 CDs. I had the Mariah Carey CD. I had the Usher CD, and I had Alicia Keys. And I remember I used to always listen to those songs over and over. Especially, it's so funny with Usher. He used to have a very low register for me as a little girl. So I used to always try to hit his low notes, but I always just loved him as a performer as well. So I always stuck to songs that made me stretch my vocals. So I think that's what gravitated me towards R&B and soul and just music that really moves you.
Sure. And that's a really good segue. What's a song that you really sort of feel kind of captures the true essence of Mibie, that really you feel, gosh, if my listeners could really understand the soul and R&B that I bring as my core, what song represents that?
I would say off of my latest single releases, my song "Believe." When you hear it, the basis of the song is "I believe in a good man." Because my EP is basically a story of my dating experience in LA. And so it talks about betrayals and heartbreak and longing and missing. I go down the line, okay? But Believe is like, even though I've been through all these, crazy situations, I still believe that there's somebody good. I believe in true love. But the vocal progression of that song, a lot of feedback I've been giving is that it's a very church. Like you should hear it. It's like very big. It's like I start low, but it's like I'm shouting to the top of my lungs. But I love it. That song is just a good song. It's a feel good song, but it's also big as far as vocally.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, let's take a listen. That's such a good setup. And I'm going to ask you some more about that belief when we come back. Hold on.
Okay, check it out. Here's Believe.
I think you hit on something, which is what really struck me when we first met in terms of being so sincere and so real. And so often we don't see that as often in LA. And those of us who feel like we're trying to stay real gravitate to other people who are real. Just talk to us about was this something that I deal with, and I'm happily married and not pretending not to be, going on 20 years now with a couple of kids, but I really, from a lot of my female patients, get this challenge of being accomplished, being confident, and still wanting to believe in love and fall in love, but finding that so many people want to be a player, want to play games, want to really, do the two phones and really not commit at the end of the day. Just talk to us about maybe some of the advice or the tips that you might give to both sides, first to the guys, but then also to the ladies about encountering that, especially in big cities.
I feel, especially when it comes to the dating scene, communication is so important, especially living in LA where everyone's here with their purpose. Like when you move to LA, you on some type of mission to be an artist, to be an entrepreneur, whatever that might be. And I feel like when you are more transparent as far as what you're looking for, because, a lot of people believe in dating multiple people before they find the right one, which, hey, everyone, we all got our own, we're comfortable with different things, but it's about communicating. And then I think also it's that dreamers aspect as well, especially me as an artist. I have a tendency to dream and like look at things from a rose romantical type of perspective. So just being open and honest on what you're looking for, but also taking on the flip side, being the receiver of that communication and being responsible for how that person is communicating. So if this person is looking for something serious and I'm not, okay, let me be transparent that I'm not, rather than more so leading that person on. And I think I touch on it in my song. It's like, all I wanted was something so real, but I keep getting messed over, but I never let it change my mind, So just staying true to who you are, but also being responsible in your own journey. Because someone said this, I don't know, I think I was watching something, but she was like, you want to be in a third party situation. You want to be like, this person is looking for something serious, but you still, continue to pursue them. So we have to take responsibility at the end of the day for our own hearts and our own feelings, and take the lead that way.
Right. What advice might you give to some young women that, oh gosh, if I could even tell myself this sort of earlier, sooner, here's something where I don't want to put my heart out there too soon, too fast, or here's some advice that I give?
My biggest advice, and it is almost me talking to the choir because it's like me telling myself, but love yourself first, okay?
I love
yourself first, fall in love with yourself, date yourself first. Yes. Like before you go out, it's important to know what you like, but also to find that inner happiness within yourself. So when you do date, or even, sometimes giving your trust, it's hard to trust folks out here. So giving your trust to someone else, you already have that within yourself. So that person is an additive. It's not a missing piece. It's something that's adding to your experience that you're already having with yourself. So that's what I could say. Fall in love with yourself first.
Sure. And just one, without trying to tear it apart too much, but just maybe one way to do that, because that's something that I often deal with.
You're breaking it all the way down.
Who basically they've been betrayed before, but I always like to say sort of by life, a cousin they may have trusted, or a family member, or someone that told them they would get them on their album, will bring it more into LA, and they're still writing, and it's been 6 years and they haven't really recorded anything independently yet, or done their own project solo work, but they've helped other people. So just what that way, because I think also then you also have a lot of auditions that people go for, and many times may not land anything. So there definitely seems, LA also seems to be synonymous with, you have to be able to handle rejection. how do you recommend just even 1 or 2 steps that people do develop some of that self-love?
I would say, one, find what you're passionate about. So like for me, it's singing. So if that's getting up every day and singing, posting small content, or doing small things that will lead to your ultimate goal. So one, self-investment is something important, even if it's not a lot. So like for me, like going to the studio and recording, even though you may not be able to market it, even though you may not be able to shoot a video. So one, find what you're passionate about. I would say that, and contribute to that every day. That's self-love, because a lot of us, a lot of the general population, people, we work because we have to pay bills, but we're not necessarily doing what we love. So
Right.
whatever that is, if that's writing, if that's singing, if that's cooking, if that's doing your hair, if that's doing your makeup, whatever, if that's dancing in the mirror,
Sure.
that's something I love to do too every day. Okay.
Um, no,
you
it's
know,
important.
do that. That's step one as far as self-love. But two, always have yourself. Never look for your happiness in another person. If you feel yourself being disappointed because someone didn't come through, then I feel like there's a piece of you that doesn't love yourself, because at this point we're all busy, we all got stuff going on. So if something don't fall through, you be like, okay, just kind of take it to the chunk it to the wind, and then you're able to still keep on going without letting people have all of your emotions. And that's another part of self-love, is being on top of your own happiness and not letting people get you down. So those
Absolutely.
are my two big ones. So find something you're very passionate about and stay on top of your emotions.
Sure. No, these are so critical because I think I could tell them to people all day long, but it doesn't seem or sound as relatable. When
Right.
you put your sincerity and your personal stamp on it, I hear it, and I think other people will be able to feel and identify it, and also be able to see themselves without it being something critical. It's just an area for growth. Um,
Mm-hmm.
this is a good transition for another song that you love, that is, whether it be empowerment, but just one that you enjoy, that you really think kind of speaks to the young ladies, young people out there who are sort of trying to find their way.
I would say I have a song called Okay. It's
Mhm.
about a relationship, and this is actually perfect, actually, because what I'm saying is like, yeah, we could have been something, but you're selfish, you never kept it real with me, but that's okay, I'm okay.
Mhm.
So that's perfect, and it has a beautiful video to it. Y'all go check it out. But here it is. It's
Yeah.
Mivviih, Okay.
Awesome. Yeah. So it's more than okay. And like I said, we're gonna let them take just a teaser. Not gonna show them everything, but here we go.
Square made to be. The illustrators.
Tell me what's the motive? Are you ready? Are you single? Are you jelly? Do you jump without thinking? But let me tell you, I'm the type that's always ready. We can do it. It's whatever. Let me know how you feeling. If I'm not ready, would you walk away? Are you the type that always has to have it your way? If that's the case, baby, it's okay. But you should know that you're just not for me. Ooh, yeah, we could have been something, but you're selfish. Oh, I guess we'll never be nothing, never can be real. That's okay. Okay, 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 okay. It's okay, 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 okay. Ain't tripping. Okay, 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 okay. It's okay, 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 okay. It's okay, 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 okay. It's okay, 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 okay. Ain't tripping. Okay, 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 okay. It's okay, okay. Oh, I can't lie. You're a sexy mother, something about that little hook in your eye. They tell me that you're hiding something from me. So what is it? Never mind it, boy. You can keep it from me. You play your games, such a shame to see. See my energy, see no enemy.
That's wonderful. And the show's called Music and Medicine. So I know, because we got to spend a little bit of time together, which I'm always so grateful for. I just wish I'd had the whole camera crew and everybody there at the time. Like you said, we can all dream, and I certainly have big dreams about how we're going to put this together so that we can certainly celebrate your music on stage together. But in the interim, tell us a little bit about sort of just coming from a place like Texas to California, and then recently becoming vegan, because you're coming from Texas, and
Yes.
certainly many people know that that might not be the typical place where a vegan might essentially find that they can get their roots, but LA
Right.
for sure. So just tell us about that transition from kind of growing up really one way and now sort of changing over.
Yes. So growing up in Texas, I grew up soul food, barbecues, everything you could think of,
Yeah.
just good home cooking. However, I've always really been into fitness. I've always been super like body conscious, and I played basketball for a little bit. And I played sports, and for me, I didn't see myself being a professional player, but I love the activeness of it. I love being one on the team, but two, I loved always being able to condition my body. So even after sports, I will always find myself running or working out in the gym. But LA, I feel like that was times 10 because everyone is super into fitness here.
Yeah, very much
And
so.
then especially like with the parking situation, having to park and then walk 2 blocks to the store.
Yeah, 6, 7, 8
You know,
up a hill.
it was just, it just made more sense. And then also with health, I feel like health is more so in your face here as far as advertisements. But I recently became vegan just because I wanted to push myself as far as health wise a little bit more. Health has always been something that was natural to me. It's eating diets. I've never been a foodie, but I've always been conscious of what I put in my body. Like, okay, I'm having too much sugar. I'm having too much bread. Let me tone down. But with that being said, I've also been extreme. Like I've been only juice. I've been on an all meat diet before. I don't recommend. I almost fainted. I really did. But as far as the vegan journey, veganism is easy to be vegan in LA. There's so many vegan restaurants. And on top of that, there's a lot of vegan soul food restaurants, which is not good to have so much vegan comfort food because it's just as bad as having regular bad food. But as far as somebody who hasn't been vegan and going off of meat, it's an easy transition. It's like, okay, here's the vegan version of your chicken fried steak. Here's the vegan version of your fried food. But health is so important also, just like within my family. Like my grandmother, she recently had surgery on her gallbladder from eating too much greasy foods essentially. And so health is just really important. Is just home for me. You can literally be losing your life or internally killing yourself when you're not eating the same food. So just for like my own family, is like, let me lead by example. Let me eat healthy and let me, recommend something different. So, we can live a long life, healthy, happy life.
Absolutely. And along those lines, what are just some of those sort of initial myths or stereotypes that you've actually found some really healthy solutions to? Because many times people may not feel full, or they may feel like it's not as tasty or things of that nature. What are some of those early myths that you feel you were able to dispel with some specific solutions?
Well, one, I would say as far as the flavor, a lot of people feel that vegan food is bland, or just eating healthy in general. They think, okay, why have a salad when I can have French fries? But there's good seasonings if you know how to cook good, and and there's variety if you know how to mix your food well as far as pairing them. There's natural foods that taste amazing. So just knowing what to eat and how to eat, as far as like my favorite thing to eat is like mixed vegetables, with like my brown rice, but that's easy for me. Like that's just so good to me. I just love it. I can eat that all day. Avocado is one of my favorite. Avocado toast is my favorite. But also vegans I felt that I wasn't getting full. I felt like I was eating more. So it's just like finding protein alternatives, but there's so many health benefits. Like I don't feel as tired. I feel like I require less sleep. But that may be just me. Like I can thrive off of 5 hours. Like before I was sleeping a lot. And then I kind of relapsed one time, and I promise you I would sleep for like 8 hours. I felt like I was like, what did I eat? I felt like I got hit by a bus. I really did. And I think that because there's so much hormones in meat, that we don't really realize. Even when I originally became vegan, the first 2 weeks I was just sleeping. I'm like, okay, something is wrong. Like, what is wrong with my body? But it was really my body transitioning off of those hormones. My body was ridding itself and resetting itself. And so after my 2 weeks becoming vegan, then I was like, oh, I'm up. I have all this energy. So also, my friends, they was like, oh, your skin is clear, or your skin seems more brighter. So there's a lot. That's my favorite part. I really did it for the skin, y'all. But I really did it to have glowy skin, but there's been other great benefits to being vegan.
Yeah, sure. hey, we appreciate the tangible because many times that makes it more accessible. Um,
Uh-huh.
the show's called Music and Medicine. What does that mean to you before we listen to maybe one last song?
To go just right on top of it, music is medicine. Music is very healing, especially for me. Music is therapeutic. Music, being 10 years here on my own, I came out here 17 going on 18 by myself with just a dream. I ain't know nobody. And music is literally what kept me going. But I
Wow.
feel like there's a song for every situation, whether that's
Mm,
happiness, celebration, pain, heartbreak, setback. But music is also healing, but
yeah,
also just the similarities as far as the essentialness of music. Medicine is also very vital, very essential as far as mental health, physical health. I feel like they perfectly intertwine. Hmm.
absolutely. Well, you've gotten a chance to hear it here. Mivie is just really incredible and so vivacious in terms of just being energetic and positive. And I don't think we could have too much of that at this time. And
Hmm.
more importantly, you've done something that certainly is relatively radical. You came from a setting where certainly having a vegan diet is not as common. I'm sure it's becoming more common these days. I don't want to
Right.
seem like it can't be. And even though you had that background and were in California for quite a bit of time, this last 6 months have really been transformative for you. And as
Hmm.
you stated, you've picked up on some really nice health benefits. Noticed that you have more energy and that your skin's great, and you feel a lot better and not literally, weighed down.
Exactly.
So we appreciate you talking to us about that transition and then also your music. So I don't want to forget that. What's a wonderful song that we can go out with that just you feel kind of captures something you want the listeners to hear?
I would say my song Intimacy. It's a nice, slow love song, but it's all about energy. It's not your typical love song. Usually in love songs, you're talking about the person being your center of attraction, but in this particular song, it's your energy. It's your
Mm,
energy that gets me in the mood. It's your energy that inspires me. So I think that's the perfect way to end it all. Here's Intimacy, a nice little ballad.
You feeling me? You're into me. Come tell me. Come show me. You want me? Gotta have me. I know it. You don't have to say a word. It's your
Well, thanks so much for joining us. I mean, it's really been a pleasure. Your energy is so positive and really
Thank
sort of
you.
just helps propel people to want to talk to you and hopefully learn and listen more to your music. Tell us where we can find you and about your socials.
Yes, so I am Mivviih across all platforms, and that is Mivviih. That's on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Twitter, TikTok if you have it. It's the same on everything. Catch me on there.
Thanks so much. Well, I look forward to being able to catch up with you again and just so appreciate, like I said, your positive nature. I just think it's infectious and it was really
Thank you.
delightful getting just to meet you. And so I just love when we can take the hand to hand literally and turn it into the virtual if we have to, as opposed to only living in the virtual world. So I'm delighted to have been able to actually meet you and interface with you. It was so much fun. And I felt like we were having our own little jokes and comments while
Right.
we were attending the events and things like that. And I saw you, tearing it up on the dance floor. So I tried to disappear into the wall, but certainly it was a pleasure seeing everybody have such a good time. And I can't wait till we catch up again.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Roshan.
Sure. No problem. Thanks. Welcome to Music and Medicine. Welcome to Music and Medicine. Welcome to Music and Medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Moshe Lewis.